Admiral Kira Puddle stood at the observation deck of the Earth Embassy on Centauri Prime, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling patterns of the gas giant below. After 20 years of service as humanity's chief representative to the Galactic Alliance, she had mastered the art of maintaining a pleasant expression while being thoroughly patronized by aliens who considered opposable thumbs to be an evolutionary curiosity. "Most fascinating, how you've managed to dress yourself in such complex garments," Ambassador Zixith of the Meridian Collective chirped, their crystalline form refracting the starlight. "Did you require assistance with the buttons?" Kira's smile remained unchanged as she adjusted her formal uniform. Behind her, First Officer James Okonjo shifted slightly, the only indication of his growing frustration. They both knew what was coming next, the inevitable head pat that every human in galactic service had learned to endure. The crystalline appendage descended right on schedule, making a tinkling sound as it touched Kira's graying hair. Such primitive neural pathways, yet somehow you've managed to grasp basic spatial awareness. Evolution truly works in mysterious ways. It was at that precise moment that Kira's quantum communicator chimed with the alert she'd been dreading for months. The holographic display showed a pattern that human scientists had predicted, but that the Galactic Alliance's superior algorithms had dismissed as impossible. The emergence of a Class X temporal anomaly in the Orion Spur. "Ambassador Zixith," Kira said, her voice carrying the weight of 2 decades of accumulated patience, "I regret to inform you that the phenomenon we warned the High Council about 6 months ago has begun to materialize." The crystalline being's facets flickered in what passed for amusement among their species. "Ah yes, your charming attempt at temporal mathematics. We found it quite entertaining how you tried to apply your limited understanding of quantum mechanics to." The observation deck's emergency alerts cut through the ambassador's condescension. Across the viewport, reality itself seemed to ripple as the first waves of temporal distortion reached Centauri Prime. "James," Kira said quietly, "initiate Protocol Cassandra." Throughout the embassy, hidden systems that humans had been installing for years hummed to life. Quantum shields that the Alliance thought beyond human engineering capability engulfed the station. In orbit, vessels that had been disguised as primitive human cargo ships revealed their true nature, deploying technology that even the most advanced Alliance species thought impossible. What is this?" Ambassador Zixith's crystalline form vibrated with confusion. "These energy signatures, this technology, it's not possible." "Funny thing about humans," Kira said, removing the quantum computer that had been disguised as a simple communicator. "We got tired of trying to convince you we knew what we were talking about. So we stopped trying. While you were busy patting our heads and marveling at our ability to use eating utensils, we were preparing for this moment." Across the galaxy, similar scenes were playing out as hidden human operations activated. The temporal anomaly that threatened to tear apart the fabric of space-time met resistance from technology that officially didn't exist, wielded by a species that had learned to hide their true capabilities behind a mask of childlike simplicity. You deceived the Alliance," Zixith accused, their crystalline form pulsing with indignation. "No, Ambassador," Kira corrected, her fingers dancing across the quantum computer's holographic interface as she coordinated humanity's response to the crisis. "We tried to warn you. Repeatedly. You chose not to listen. The deception was one of your own making. You saw what you expected to see." James stepped forward, his own diplomatic smile finally dropping. "We learned early on that the galaxy wasn't ready to accept humans as equals. So we adapted. Every patronizing comment, every dismissive pat on the head, every conversation about our admirable attempts at science, they all just gave us more time to prepare." The temporal anomaly raged against the human defensive network, but the barriers held. Decades of hidden research, secret installations, and carefully concealed technological advancement were paying off. "The question now, Ambassador," Kira said, turning to face the still stunned crystalline being, is whether the Alliance is ready to have a serious conversation about humanity's place in the galaxy. Because the time for playing pretend is over. Throughout the embassy, other humans were dropping their carefully maintained masks of simple competence, revealing the true extent of their capabilities. The day of reckoning had arrived, not with violence or conquest, but with the quiet revelation of a truth that had been hiding in plain sight. The Galactic Alliance's Emergency Council chamber was in chaos. Representatives from 1,000 species argued in their native tongues as the temporal anomaly continued its destructive march across space. Above them all, the massive holographic display showed the spreading distortion in real time, its tendrils of warped spacetime reaching toward populous systems. Fleet Commander Rashid Hassan watched it all from the back of the chamber, his weathered face illuminated by the emergency lighting. Beside him, Lieutenant Nora Blackwood checked the readings on her quantum tablet, disguised until now as a primitive data pad. "Fascinating," she murmured. "How none of them have noticed yet." Indeed, none of the panicking Alliance representatives had realized that the anomaly was expanding in a perfectly controlled pattern, guided by human technology. What looked like random destruction to their sensors was actually a carefully orchestrated containment operation. "Attention, Council," a voice thundered through the chamber. High Chancellor Vix of the Arcturian Dominion took the central platform, their bioluminescent tendrils pulsing with authority. "Our greatest minds have calculated that the anomaly will reach the Proxima cluster within 12 hours. Evacuation is impossible. We face extinction." Rashid stepped forward, his movement drawing every alien eye in the chamber. They had always found it disconcerting how quietly humans could move despite their crude bipedal structure. "Perhaps," he said, his voice carrying clearly without any amplification, "it's time to consider alternative solutions." "The human wishes to speak," Chancellor Vix announced, their tendrils dimming in what passed for amusement. "While we appreciate your species' enthusiasm, this crisis requires advanced temporal mathematics that your kind simply cannot." "We're already containing it," Nora interrupted, stepping up beside Rashid. She activated her tablet's true interface, projecting a detailed quantum map of the operation. "Has anyone wondered why the anomaly's expansion pattern seems to avoid populated systems?" Silence fell across the chamber. 1,000 alien species, many of whom had spent centuries dismissing humans as barely sentient, stared at the holographic display with new understanding. "Impossible," whispered Chancellor Vix. "Your species hasn't even mastered basic gravitational manipulation." Rashid smiled. It wasn't the practiced, submissive smile that humans had worn for generations in galactic society. This was the smile of a parent whose child finally realizes they've been playing chess, not checkers. "Chancellor," he said, "did you ever wonder why human ships always seem to arrive exactly when needed, despite our primitive faster-than-light drives? Or why human colonies survive disasters that should have annihilated them? Did you think it was luck?" Across the galaxy, human ships were dropping their camouflage. Vessels that had appeared to be simple freighters revealed themselves as advanced temporal engineering platforms. Stations that the Alliance had dismissed as quaint human outposts transformed into quantum manipulation centers. "We call it Project Lighthouse," Nora explained, expanding her holographic display. "A galaxy-wide network of temporal stabilization units, disguised as human infrastructure. We've been building it for 50 years, right under everyone's noses." But why the deception?" demanded a representative from the Silicon Consciousness, their crystalline form vibrating with confusion. "Because you weren't ready," Rashid replied simply. "Every time we tried to share our advances openly, we were dismissed. Our warnings were ignored. Our theories were laughed at. So we adapted." On the main display, the temporal anomaly's expansion slowed, then stopped. Throughout the chamber, aliens watched in stunned silence as human ships began the delicate process of collapsing the distortion. "The containment operation will take approximately 6 hours," Nora announced, her fingers dancing across her tablet. "We've already evacuated the affected systems, Those inefficient human cargo ships were actually running rescue operations while your species were still calculating the math. Chancellor Vix's tendrils had lost all their bioluminescence. "You've been protecting us all along," they said slowly. "Every inexplicable survival, every lucky escape." "We took an oath," Rashid said, his voice carrying a weight that made several psychically sensitive species step back. "To protect and serve. You all thought it was cute. Humans playing at being guardians, but we never specified who we were protecting and serving." Around the chamber, realization dawned on faces and sensory organs of all kinds. The humans they had dismissed, patronized, and underestimated had been quietly serving as the galaxy's hidden guardians. "The question now," Rashid continued, "is whether the Alliance is ready to accept the truth about humanity's role in the galaxy. Because this crisis isn't over, and we can't protect everyone while pretending to be less than we are." The chamber erupted in overlapping voices as the implications sank in. In orbit above them, human ships continued their precise temporal engineering work, their true capabilities finally unveiled. The age of humanity hiding in plain sight was ending. The age of humanity standing tall was about to begin. The Grand Assembly Hall of New Terra shimmered with holographic displays showing the Void Herald's advance. What had once been the human colony's modest meeting chamber now served as humanity's command center, its true nature finally revealed. The crystalline walls pulsed with quantum calculations as representatives from across the galaxy gathered for the first truly equal diplomatic summit in Alliance history. Director Isabella Rice stood at the central platform, her silver-streaked hair and commanding presence drawing all eyes. The diplomatic corps she led had spent decades playing the role of simple-minded peacekeepers. Now they would show the galaxy what human negotiation truly looked like. "The Void Heralds have breached the Perseus arm," she announced, manipulating the holographic display with practiced ease. "We have approximately 3 standard months before they reach populated space. The question is no longer whether we fight, but how we fight together." The alien representatives shifted uncomfortably. For centuries, they had led every major diplomatic initiative. Now they found themselves turning to the species they had once patronized for leadership. "The Arcturus Federation offers its quantum fleet," announced High Marshal Vailura, their photonic form brightening with determination. "Though we now realize our technology may be less advanced than we believed." Isabella nodded graciously, remembering countless meetings where the Arcturians had lectured humans on basic quantum mechanics. "Your ships will be essential to our defense strategy. We've developed integration protocols that will enhance their capabilities beyond your current specifications." One by one, species that had once dismissed humanity stepped forward to offer their forces. Each time, the humans revealed ways to improve and enhance their allies' technology. Advantages they had kept hidden while playing the role of primitive newcomers. From her position at the tactical display, Fleet Commander Arya Patel watched the proceedings with carefully concealed amusement. She had spent 15 years pretending her battle strategies came from primitive intuition rather than advanced quantum probability mapping. "There's something I don't understand," said Ambassador Zix of the Silicon Consciousness, their crystalline form refracting the holographic light. "If you possess such advanced technology, why not simply take control of the Alliance long ago? Why maintain the deception?" A ripple of agreement passed through the assembly. Many species were clearly wondering the same thing. Isabella smiled, not the practiced, submissive smile of old, but one of genuine warmth. "Because that was never our goal. Humanity learned long ago that true strength lies not in domination, but in protection. We didn't hide our capabilities out of fear or manipulation, but because the galaxy wasn't ready for partnership." She gestured to the tactical display, where the Void Herald's advance continued inexorably. "Every species in this room has something unique to offer. The Arcturians' photonic computing, the Silicon Consciousness's crystalline matrix technology, the Meridian Collective's psychic enhancement fields, all essential pieces of the puzzle. We never wanted to rule the galaxy. We wanted to protect it together." The display shifted, showing the intricate defense network humanity had built over decades. Hidden installations, cloaked fleets, and dimensional anchors, all carefully positioned to create a complex web of protection around every inhabited system. The Void Heralds cannot be defeated by technology alone. Aria spoke up, her voice carrying the weight of command. They operate partially outside our dimension, making conventional warfare impossible. Victory requires something more. It requires unity. As if to emphasize her point, the tactical display showed the first skirmish between a human patrol and a Void Herald scout. The alien vessel, barely visible in normal space, was trapped and neutralized by a combination of human temporal technology and Arcturian photonic fields. We've spent generations learning your strengths, understanding your technologies, and preparing for this moment, Isabella continued. Not to subjugate, but to synchronize. Every ship, every weapon, every defense system we've built is designed to work in concert with your capabilities. The battle for the Milky Way began not with a bang, but with a synchronized dance of technology and determination. From their command center on New Terra, Admiral Teishi Nakamura watched as centuries of human preparation merged seamlessly with alien innovation. Void Herald Vanguard approaching the Karina defense line, announced Tactical Officer Raj Patel, his hands moving across the quantum interface. The massive holographic display showed the enemy vessels, their forms shifting between dimensions like oil on water. What happened next left even the most seasoned alien commanders in awe. Human temporal shields synchronized with Arcturian photonic arrays, creating multi-dimensional barriers that trap the Void Heralds in normal space. Silicon consciousness crystals, enhanced by hidden human technology, projected quantum disruption fields that severed the invaders' trans-dimensional connections. This, Admiral Nakamura said quietly to the assembled alien leaders, is what humanity has been preparing for. Not dominance, but harmony. The battle unfolded across the galaxy like a precisely choreographed performance. Every piece of technology humanity had hidden, every capability they had disguised, worked in perfect conjunction with their allies' strengths. Ships that the Alliance had dismissed as primitive now revealed their true nature, not as superior vessels, but as perfect complements to alien designs. High Chancellor Vix, watching from the command center, finally understood. You weren't just hiding your capabilities, they whispered. You were building bridges we couldn't yet see. A Void Herald dreadnought, massive enough to devour solar systems, emerged from the dimensional void. In the past, such a sight would have sparked panic. Now, it triggered a response generations in the making. Human quantum calculators predicted its movements. Arcturian ships provided the energy matrix. Silicon consciousness crystals focused the power. Meridian collective psychics stabilized the dimensional anchor, 1,000 species working as one, guided by the species they had once patronized. Remember, Admiral Nakamura's voice carried across all frequencies, we are not fighting for dominance. We are fighting for existence itself. Every species, every world, every dream of what we can become together. The Void Heralds, expecting to find a fragmented galaxy of competing species, encountered instead a unified force, unlike anything they had faced in their consumption of other galaxies. Their attempt to divide and conquer met an unbreakable network of cooperation. In the end, it wasn't a single decisive blow that turned the tide. It was the accumulated effect of countless small victories, each won through the combined efforts of humanity and their alien allies. The Void Heralds, unable to comprehend or counter such unity, began to retreat. As the final enemy vessels flowed back into the dimensional void, sealed away by technologies born of true cooperation, a new era dawned for the galaxy. So, Ambassador Zixith said, their crystalline form glowing with newfound respect, what happens now? Admiral Nakamura looked out at the stars. Stars that would continue to shine because species had learned to see past their prejudices. Now, he said, we build something new. Not a galaxy of masters and servants, not of advanced and primitive species, but of equals, each contributing our unique strengths, each learning from the others. Across the galaxy, ships of all species began the work of reconstruction. Human vessels dropped their camouflage permanently, but not to dominate. Instead, they took their place among the vast fleet of allied ships, each design complementing the others in a display of true cooperation. "We kept ourselves hidden," Raj said, shutting down the last of the stealth protocols that had disguised human capabilities for so long, not because we were ashamed, but because we were waiting for the moment when the galaxy was ready for real partnership. In the years that followed, the galaxy transformed. The patronizing headpats and condescending remarks faded into memory, replaced by genuine respect and cooperation. Human innovation merged with alien wisdom, creating technologies and societies beyond what any single species could have achieved alone. The Void Heralds had sought to consume a divided galaxy. Instead, they had inadvertently forged something unprecedented, a civilization where strength came not from dominance, but from unity, where advancement was measured not by comparison to others, but by how well species could work together. And in the heart of this new galaxy, humanity finally took its place, not as conquerors, not as servants, but as equals among the stars. The Deathworlders had chosen not violence, but vision, not superiority, but synthesis. The dawn of a new age had begun, and it would be written in the stars by all species together. End of story.